This is lesson 1.6 on solving equations. Example 1a. In the board game Monopoly, Boardwalk is the most expensive property. The one-time cost of the property is $1,400, while the rent earned from another player landing on it is $2,000. If n equals the number of players landing on Boardwalk, then f of n equals 2,000 times n minus 1,400. Is the owner's total profit after n players have landed on the property. So a certain amount, we don't know, it could be any number. Question A, what will be the owner's profit after 4 people land on Boardwalk? So they want to know, instead of f of n, they want to know f of 4. So we're going to solve equations plugging in numbers. And we know when f of n equals 2,000 n minus 1,400. That's the owner's profit. That's the formula for it. So we're going to say f of 4 equals 2,000. We're going to plug 4 in for n minus 1,400. F of 4 equals 8,000 because we got to do multiplication first, minus 1,400. F of 4 equals $6,600 profit. That's the owner's profit after 4 people land on Boardwalk. Next question, is it possible for the owner to make exactly $10,000 in profit? So we want to figure out how many people would need to land on it to see if he could make exactly, that's the key word, exactly 10,000 in profit. So we don't know n, so we're going to say f of n has to equal 10,000. So we're going to use that formula, f of n equals 2,000 n minus 1,400, and set that equal to 10,000 because we want the profit to be exactly 10,000. So 2,000 n minus 1,400 equals 10,000. Now we can solve for n. We can add 1,400 to both sides. Those go to 0 and we have 2,000 n equals 11,400. We can divide both sides by 2,000. And n equals 5.7. Well, n was the number of people, and you can't have 5.7 people, but that's how many the owner would need to land on Boardwalk in order for him to make exactly $10,000. And since you can't have 5.7 people, then it is not possible for the owner to make exactly $10,000 in profit. Okay, the next example for solving equations. In the board game Monopoly, you purchase 4 houses and a hotel on Illinois Avenue for a one-time cost of $750. You will earn rent of $1,100 each time another player lands on the property. If n players land on Illinois Avenue, then your profit is f of n equals 1,100n minus 750. So that's the equation for this one. Question A, or part A, what is your profit after 1 player lands on Illinois Avenue? So they want n to equal 1. So we can say f of 1 equals 1,100 n minus 750. Well, we know we're going to plug 1 in for n. So we could say f of 1 equals 1,100 times 1 minus 750. If you do the math for that, it's $350. Profit for that person is $350 after 1 player lands on Illinois Avenue. Part B, how many players must land on Illinois Avenue so that your profit is at least $15,000? So now we say we're solving for n. In this case, we want to know how many players it takes. So we're going to set the entire equation equal to $15,000. And we're going to solve for n. We're going to add 750 to both sides. That goes to 0, and you have 1,100n equals 15,000 plus 750 is 15,750. Divide both sides by 1,100. And n equals 14.3. So you have to have at least 15 people, because you can't have 14.3 people land on Illinois Avenue. So you need to have at least 15 people, so the profit is at least $15,000. Okay, at the bottom of this page, we're going to review the distributive property that you should have learned in Algebra 1. And it says, for all real numbers A, B, and C, C times A plus B inside the parentheses is the same as distributing that C to each part of the parentheses. So C times A plus C times B. If we were to use numbers, we could say 3 times 2 plus, and we could throw in some variables, 2x. That is the same as 3 times 2 plus 3 times x. We distribute the 3 to both parts inside the parentheses. And we could simplify that, and we could say 3 times 2 is 6 plus 3x. So let's practice using that distributive property on the next two examples. Example 2a. Darius had $500 to spend at the baseball card convention. He decided to spend all of his money buying rookie cards of his two favorite players. At the end of the season, Darius found that the first card increased in value by 21%, while the second card decreased in value by 7%. He spent D dollars on the first card, so he spent 500 minus D dollars on the second. So T of D equals 1.21 D plus 0.93 times 500 minus D inside the parentheses gives the total value of the two cards. So there is the equation that we're going to use. If Darius' cards were worth $550 at the end of the season, how much did he spend on each card? So we can say T of D, they're saying that the total of the cards was $550, and we know T of D is right there, so we can say, if we rewrite that equation, we can say T of D, this is what they gave us, 1.21 D plus 0.93, 500 minus D. We can put in T of D equals 550, so we can plug that in for T of D, so we can say 550 equals 1.21 D plus 0.93 500 minus D. Now we can solve for D. First we're going to do the distributive property that we just talked about because we can see we have parentheses. So let's do that. 550 equals 0.21 D plus, we're going to distribute the 0.93 to both parts. 0.93 times 500 is 465 minus 0.93 D. We can combine like terms on the right side. We have 1.21 D and 0.93 D. So we can say 550 equals 1.21 D minus 0.93 D. That is 0.28 D plus 465. Now we can subtract 465 from both sides. And you have 85 equals 0.28 D. Divide both sides by 0.28. And D equals $303.57. That's for the first card. They want to know then what he spent on each card. So in order to figure out what he spent on the second card, if he spent a total of $500, then you would say $500, because that was what we started with, what he started with money to spend, minus what he spent on the first card equals what he spent on the second card. Okay, let's do example 2b now. Suppose you just received a $50,000 inheritance. At first, you decide to invest some of the money in a certificate of deposit account that earns 6% and the rest of the money in a savings account that earns 4%. If X dollars are invested at 6%, then E of X equals 0.06X plus 0.04 times 50,000 minus X. Gives the interest earned in 1 year. If you want to earn $2,500 in the first year, how much money should be placed in each account? And you started with $50,000. So I'm going to work this one up here. E of X. I'm just rewriting the formula. And they say E of X equals $2,500. That's what you want to earn in the first year. So we're going to set everything equal to that $2,500. So 2,500 equals 0.06x plus 0.04, 50,000 minus x. And we're going to solve for x. But we're going to use the distributive property first and distribute the 0.04 to the 50,000 and to the x. So 2,500 equals 0.06x plus 0.04 times 50,000 is 2,000 minus 0.04x. I'm going to combine like terms. I have a 0.06x and a minus 0.04x. So 2,500 equals 0.02x plus 2,000. I'm going to subtract 2,000 from both sides. I have 500 equals 0.02x. I'm going to divide by 0.02 on both sides. And I have x equal $25,000. So if they have $25,000 in one account and they started with $50,000, so 50,000 minus 25,000 equals 25,000 in the second account. So that's how much money should be placed in each account.